Okay. Welcome tonight to our TMBT Radio. This is one of our shows that we are premiering. And tonight, once again, we're blessed to have, my word that I always use is blessed. We're blessed to have one of my brothers tonight here with us on the Minority Report on TMBT Radio. We're live with Ronson Giggets, one of the Black Panther incredible actors that we have. Ronson, are you there with us?
Yes. Here. They're here. Here with you.
Great, brother. Great, man. First of all, I want to say thank you to you just for being with us tonight, man, for taking the time to be with us. Shoot, you could be anywhere in the world, man, but you taking the time to talk to us tonight. And we're so very blessed, once again, to have you here. My wife and I, we are just finished up seeing the movie. Want to say to you that it is totally incredible. It is what everyone says it is. Highly recommend that everyone who has a chance to see it, if you've seen it once, go back. If you haven't seen it yet, please go. And so we are very fortunate tonight to have Ronson Giggets here from my high school, John Marshall High School, here in Richmond, Virginia. Ronson, thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Talk to us a little bit about yourself. We know you're a very humble guy, but want you to just talk about your humble beginnings on 3100 Fendall Avenue in Northside, Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, man. That's the place where I grew up at. I grew up over there. How could I say? I went to J.B. Stewart School. School was right across from my house. I say had 3 brothers, 1 sister. I'm the youngest. It was a lot. I would say it was a lot. There was a lot of things going on. A lot of things, a lot of positive energy going on. My dad, he was a football coach at Hoskins Field, and he was a part of his band. And my mom, she was, hairstylist. So, and my brothers and stuff, they were into music. It was like a lot of things, a lot of moving, a lot of people moving a lot around. I'd say probably. I'd probably say I would come home from school every day. I would say, matter of fact, my mom, she had a beauty shop in the house, and it was like people used to be packed over there. And then I would come home every day from school, and I would see a lot of people, getting their hair done, or my pops, he would be in the basement having the band, getting the band, orchestrated and stuff. Because he was like one of the singers, and plus some of his off days, he would go coach at Hoskins Field. So I was a part of that as a kid and everything. And I would play like basketball in the backyard all the time. House used to be packed with people
Right.
every day. So I was like interacting with a lot of people and how could I say, good positive spirits and stuff like that, and then Northside, Northside is kind of a rough area, so it's like we had to at least try to find some constructive good to do instead of just being out in the streets and everything and in front of all that
Exactly.
camaraderie and the crowd and everything like that stuff that was going on. So I mean, Northside, that's like the heart right there,
Yeah.
and everything, because Northside kind of instilled in me. As I say, it is still toughness, and it's still a lot in me. It just made me feel like it just made me stronger as far as dreaming big. Like I just feel like the stuff that was going on around there, I know it's something better that can come out of this. And plus, Richmond being a city, even though Richmond is smaller, but it's not like New York or Chicago or anything.
Right.
So it just kind of made me stronger as far as I can do anything I want. I can do anything that I put my mind to, and it can happen. So
Right. Well, it's funny that you say that because it's obvious that you have achieved a dream. You have achieved quite a bit in such a short period of time. You're still a young man, and so to be doing the things that you are. I remember before this movie, you and I would talk on Facebook about your other accomplishments, and I would always send positive energy. But want you to talk a little bit about your other movies as well. Of course, Black Panther being the biggest, which is going on now. But you've been blessed to actually be in some incredible films. I'm sure it's kind of the correlation that I will make basketball and acting. Like you said, you put your all into your dream. And so for those young listeners that are listening, that dream of basketball, or those young listeners that dream of acting or football or being a lawyer or being president, whatever it is, this young man today is living proof that with hard work and dedication, anything you dream can become reality. So just wanted you to talk a little bit about your start in acting as well. What was your first movie that you remember doing? What was your first experience?
My first experience, I would say, my first experience. My first film was a Lifetime movie called Unanswered Prayers. But before then, I was signed with this casting agency in Los Angeles called North Hollywood Casting. And actually, a lot of people don't know that's the same casting agency that Jennifer Hudson was signed to before she went on to Dreamgirls.
Oh wow!
And got her first role because she was doing Disney Cruise Line. She was singing for Disney, I think Disney or some type of cruise line company through North Hollywood Castings. And that was I got signed with North Hollywood Castings in probably 2007, 2008. I would say I was on a year contract for like a year, and actually this was during the time when you had Flavor of Love, you know, you had Jesus Gents on MTV,
right.
The Real World, and it was like I probably say it was like a lot of reality shows and game shows was popping back in 2007, and I was considered for like different shows, but I never got looked at. I never got any job as far as me getting on. So I probably figured like I was on a year full contract. a year on contract. So I was like, I'm thinking like after the year was up, I'm thinking, maybe, even though I didn't get any jobs or get any exposure, I said if I could get somebody in LA to look at me all the way up in Richmond, which was major to me. I'm like, wow, like really LA, the company is LA, but they consider me way over in Richmond. Maybe I should take this a little further. Right. So what happened was, I would say, I kept doing my research on different companies on who to contact. I'm talking about I was in grind mode. I'm talking about, matter of fact, I was in grind mode, and plus I was working at the post office too. So this was the time where I would get off work from the post office, and every day I would get off work, and I would consistently go to the library to do my research for probably like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, just trying to get some information about acting, or just trying to get details about the resume and what's a headshot and this and that, just different information on who to send out to. Right. I probably took probably like a year or two. Wow. Before I even got my first gig with Unanswered Prayers Lifetime on the Lifetime movie. That was kind of like that was here in Richmond. And I was excited. I would say I was excited. That happened like 2010, 2011. I was very excited. My first time ever being on set. I was kind of like a crowd, like an audience crowd football game cheering, right, and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, some good start. And that was actually my first gig. I was background. Doing that, and the experience was like it was almost like, wow, I finally got somebody to contact me on a film project.
Right.
Even though it's a small part, but then again, this can be the foundation where I can get my feet wet
right.
and get into the industry.
Right.
So I kind of look at it as an opportunity, because most people they kind of overlook it because it's small. They have high expectations when they starting out. That's the thing. A lot of people have high expectations when they start out. They figure like just because it's a background role or extra role, I'm not gonna take it. I want to be with Tyler Perry. I want to be with Denzel and this and this. Right. But then again, you're fresh starting out, so you need some foundation before you can even go further. It's almost like building a house. Right. You see what I'm saying? Right. It's almost like in order for you to build a house, you need some type of foundation before you can build it up with concrete and cement to level it to succeed, for it to finish, go higher.
Right. Right. It's funny. The more the more that I listen to you talk, and the more that I talk to you about Hollywood and LA and becoming an actor and getting your first start, it really brings back memories of playing basketball, playing pro basketball, because it's similar. It sounds similar, but you have to have your player profile. You have to have your stats, your videotape, everything. It's almost like your bio. You have to have your bio, and it's something that I try to teach my pro players that we send overseas, is that you have to be, you have to have everything that you're going to need for them to see in this one file, or on this one piece of paper, and you have to have it at all times. And so the more that I'm listening to you, I really want the young listeners to understand the correlation, the comparison, because hard work is hard work, dedication, perseverance, all the things that we teach our middle school students, our high school, college, and pro players. It sounds like it's the blueprint for just more than basketball, or just more than sports, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Yes, it is. It is. Matter of fact, I played ball too. I played ball probably ever since I was like 6 years old, all the way up until high school, a little bit of college, but not as much. Right. I played AU camps. I played you name it, man. Right. I've been to sports camps. I've been to tournaments. All of it. Right. Because my dad, he's currently a football coach. He's a basketball coach and football coach. So I was around sports all the time, and I knew I had the talent to do it. And how could I say, like, the correlation? The correlation from sports to acting, I would say this. I would say, man, it's the same. You have to have drive. You have to have confidence. Right. And then again, you have to put in the hard work. You have to put in your seeds, man. You have to put in the foundation. Right. In order to be great, like, you have to go to practice. Like, practice is almost like you have to correlation to acting. It's like practice, basketball practice. It's the same thing as probably somebody that would, going to actors' workshops, or going to, actors' workshops, working on your craft, working on your craft, exercise your craft fundamentals, right? And everything. That's the comparison to that, and also, as far as, like, some people have acting coaches, right, that they work with, right, in correlation to basketball coaches, right, right. So that can play ties into a comparison too, right.
Now, for all of our John Marshall listeners, before we started, you and I, we were talking about the legendary basketball coach Frank Threets, who you played for, who not everyone, but everyone our age from the north side of Richmond, or from the Richmond area, has heard of Coach Frank Threets. He was one of my mentors, and you and I were actually talking about how you have used sports as a way of coping and maneuvering your way around Hollywood, if you will. So wanted you to touch a little bit about that, what Coach Threets, I know you and I were talking about. I want you to share with them and to further make my correlation between basketball and acting.
Yes. Man, Coach Threets is, man, he's one of the legendary coaches at John Marshall High School. As a matter of fact, in basketball history, VHSL basketball history.
Right. Yeah.
I would say, man, like Coach Threets, me playing with Coach Threets, man. Coach Threets, he was very, me as a player, he was very hard on me. But then again, when you understand in life, the reason why he was so hard on you is because he knew you had the potential to overcome.
Right.
You know, as far as learning fundamentals here and there and everything.
Right.
One thing, Coach Threets, the important thing Coach Threets used to say is basketball is life. Actually, it is. It's like the same thing you put. It's like the same situations in basketball, or in the same situations that you go through in basketball, like the losing, understanding how to lose, understanding how to win, and how to overcome. Practicing your craft in order to get better. Those same essentials from basketball can translate into acting as well.
Right.
It's almost like you experiencing those things in sports and everything. It can transfer for you into the real world. And
right.
Matter of fact, not even into acting. I mean, I'll probably say anything you want to accomplish or have aspirations or anything you want to do, it's going to happen to you. It can be in music, it could be being a doctor, being a lawyer,
right.
those types of things. So I mean, Coach Threets really had a very important piece of saying that.
Right.
I mean, putting that into life.
Right.
Basketball is life.
Right.
And actually it is. Yeah.
Right. It's funny. I also think of him often, almost daily. And it's one of those things where, if you knew Coach, like you said, if he loved you, he talked to you about doing better. And if he didn't encourage you to do better, he didn't see progress, or he didn't see you being a positive person. And so it is something that I, of course, cherish. It sounds like you cherish it as well. And you would be surprised at the amount of basketball players and football players and just students that I talk to from time to time that mention the same words that just came out of your mouth. You hear so many people say it. And so it sounds like you, like myself, like a lot of guys, we realize the importance of our elders. We realize that the things that they were saying to us were very important, but more importantly, they were very true. And that grown folks in that day, they didn't tell lies, they told you the truth, and they didn't have to tell you twice. Coach Threets didn't have to tell us much of anything twice. So that was the beauty of it. And so I don't know if his son, Frank Threets III, is listening, but send a lot of positive energy out to the family, to Frank Threets III and the family and the whole Threets family. Talk to me a little bit for those listeners that are like myself. We're old guys and never had a chance to go to Hollywood, to L.A. Tell me a little bit about Hollywood. Tell me a little bit about L.A., the allure, the myth for old guys like myself and us. But it's also to encourage young listeners that if they are listening, here's the reason why you should go and take advantage. It sounds like it's a place that has so many opportunities, so many options as far as work, your profession, your profession and actually living out your dream. So I want you to talk a little bit about the big, huge word of Hollywood.
Yes, I would say Hollywood as a whole. I would say Hollywood as a whole. I mean, it's like you meet a lot of people. You meet a lot of people, and you meet. I mean, you meet a lot of. I mean, you're going to meet a lot of people that's in the same ministry as you. People that are very mindful and open-minded about their craft. They take their craft seriously. They take the art seriously, the culture seriously. I would say, and then again, it's like the more you be around like-minded people that are in the same realm as you. You started to learn and pick up a lot from people. Right. I mean, just being a sponge, just intaking a lot of experience. As far as it's more like experience, as far as just how to handle, situations. As far as learning how to talk, how to speak, and how to adjust to different film directors on what is it that they want you to do. Because I know most times I've been on set where film directors might tell somebody, well, then I want you to do it this way. Well, I want you to act this way. I want you to walk this way. And some people have an attitude, Some people go off, and just the spirit of being humble. You have to be humble. You have to be humble, and you have to plant your seeds so they can grow. I mean, positive seeds. As far as networking to the right people, and just not having a lot of egos. You have to let a lot of egos go when you're dealing with big time directors or big time people. You just have to be humble,
right.
In those situations.
Right.
And also, to be honest with you, I've never been to Hollywood, but I one day wanted to go. I mean, I'm talking about like Los Angeles, Hollywood, but I've always stayed on the East Coast. So, but then again, Hollywood is transparent to saying it's a big city as to New York. I've been to New York many a times. Been to New York many a times. I mean, I would say New York and Chicago. I say with New York and California is probably the same. Just so happens that New York does a lot of television production, and LA does a lot of film, a lot of film production. I would say, right? Right. I mean, I'm talking about like film as far as movies, not movies versus television series.
Right,
so,
gotcha.
And also another thing, New York does a lot of Broadway theater also. So.
Right. It's funny because once again, here I am with making the correlation between basketball and acting, but it sounds like you said you're dealing with different directors. Some have egos, different actors on your set, on your film. They have egos, and the more that I hear you talk, my brother, the more I see it like basketball, because when you go to a foreign country, you're going to have a new coach. So he's going to be asking you to do things that you're probably not used to doing, or that you were used to doing on the last team that you were on, or in your case, maybe in the last film that you were in. And so it's kind of like you said, you have to change to meet the job requirements for this particular actor or coach. So the more that I talk and think and listen to you talk, it's becoming more like a basketball interview. And once you
it is.
And it's kind of like you're interviewing for your next job. Of course, whatever you do with the team you're on, you can't feel secure because you want to hopefully get a job next year, want to make a good impression, and you want people to see you. So your work to speak for itself.
Yes.
Great.
Speak for itself.
Right. While we're here, wanted you to, for our listeners that are listening, for people that want to contact you or to see more about what you have going on with your projects and your social media, I wanted you to shout out your social media handles for those that are listening.
You can catch me at Ronson Giggets, Ronson Actor at Instagram.com, or you can just Google me on Facebook, Ronson Giggets. That's RONSON Giggets with the G. That's GIGGETTS.
Right. Perfect. And like I said, for those people that are listening that may have aspirations of becoming an actor or whatever you are dreaming about, I'm sure that some words or some positive words from you can go a long ways with the youth and even with adults. Just to let people know hey, no matter what wall or what road bump you may run into, you got to keep pushing. You got to keep plugging away.
You got to keep pushing.
Got to keep pushing.
You got to keep pushing. I would say there's life after basketball.
Right.
I mean, there's life after basketball.
Right.
I would say, like, to be honest with you, like I said, I've been playing since I was 6 years old. And my pops, he's a coach. My pops, I would like to dedicate my pops. He's a great father, man. He took me in when I was little, and everything. He was hard on me too. So actually, I had two coaches. To be honest with you,
oh wow!
My master, I had Coach 3 that was hard on me, and I had my father. He was hard on me because he was a coach too.
Right.
And everything. I would say by me not. Matter of fact, it kind of made me better. It kind of made me better through life and the situations I go through,
right,
and how to handle it. And also another thing, I kind of owe it to myself. But since I was 6, I always had dreams of going to the NBA, and just wanted to be this big time star. But also, it's like sometimes when we get older, we have a shift change.
Right.
We have another shift change, a shift in direction.
Right.
And sometimes when people have a shift in direction to go somewhere, to go in another place, it doesn't mean that what you did before you wasn't good enough. It just so happens you have to transcend what you used to do into what you're doing now, into what you're doing really right at the moment of what you're trying to accomplish.
Right. It sounds.
Am I right?
Yeah. I'm bless you. It sounds like, and some people, I hear you speak often of your father, and just now talking about how you had two coaches, one at home that coached you during the day for the time that you went around Coach Streets. But some people would look at that, and that can make people, especially young kids, if the kid's not mentally tough and doesn't understand that his father and coach are coming from a place of love and it's positive energy, that can maybe make some people or make some kids not understand. But I think in your case, you used it to your benefit and took advantage of having those two coaches, and you were able to understand at a very young age that these two people, if used wisely, can really put me in a position to succeed. It sounds like,
and also it's like, because my dad, Coach B, everybody knows Coach B. He's a legendary coach at Hoskins Field. Matter of fact, I talked to my dad. He told me he's been coaching since '81.
Oh wow!
And he's a football coach now, so he's actually an offensive coach. Football, he coaches football and basketball. He's a coach. He coached at John Marshall High School. The head coach at John Marshall High School. He was one of he was one of the legendary coaches at Hoskins Field, and now he's coaching over at Elsinburg as the offensive coordinator team.
Wow.
Over at Elsinburg High School. He's actually still coaching now. So,
wow.
I would say, man, sometimes, like the hard times, used to get on me about doing stuff after basketball games and stuff. I wouldn't learn how to take it. But now it's like when you get older, it builds character.
Right.
You know, as far as going through the hard times or somebody get hard on you, it kind of builds character towards you.
Right. It
does. Press forward.
It does. It can. Like you said, especially for those kids that are fortunate enough to have people that love them and to share that information with them, and for that kid to be receptive. It's kind of like you said, with your dad coaching for so many years, and with the coaching that I'm doing now, you have to. It's almost a 50-50 deal. The coach has to do his 50%, but the kid also has to be receptive and do his 50% to learn and to understand that this adult is taking time out of their life to make or to try to make your life better. And so you take someone like your dad who's been doing it, sounds like over 30 years. That person, there's very little money to be made in coaching. So anyone that does it is doing it from their heart, from their soul, and they honestly want that kid or that generation to do better. And so huge shouts out to your dad, man, for just plugging away at it. And sounds like he's making or has been making better men, yourself included. But hey, man, when you're a football coach or basketball coach, your troops or your kids, they really look up to you. And so for him to keep going for this long is a blessing, man. It's a true blessing. True blessing. So, of course, what everyone has been waiting for, of course, I've been getting so many calls and emails and social media talk wanting to know about your new movie, the Blockbuster movie. So we'll get into that. Of course, we have so many people that know you, and very seldom do I or do we as people get a chance to actually have someone like yourself with us to share the experience. And so I wanted to jump right in. Like I said, my wife and I, we're just coming back. We saw the 4:00 show at the Commonwealth 20 in Chesterfield. And so want to talk a little bit or a lot about I think last time I looked, you guys were at like 700 million. That was like last week. Talk to me a little bit about the phenomenon of Black Panther, the movie.
Man, the phenomenon, man, oh my God, it's big. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's so big. It's so big. It's a movement. It's a movement.
It's a movement.
So
yes.
It's like how when movements start off big, they get bigger and bigger, and it grows and get continuously bigger.
Right.
So,
right.
Man, I'll say my experience, man. This is an amazing experience. I would say it happened so fast.
Right.
Like, I mean, everything happened so fast. Man, I'm very astounded.
Right.
I'm very astounded. I'm very astounded. Just the whole atmosphere of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would say, to be honest with you, I was one of the characters on Black Panther. I was born a tribe warrior.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of Daniel Koyongo. I think his name Koyongo.
Right.
He played on the Get Out. He was one of the star characters on the Get Out feature film.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That came out last year. I was part of his army. And I would say we were going against Black Panther in the Black Panther movie.
Right.
I would say it happened so fast because how it happened, how I got cast for Black Panther. How I got cast was actually a lot of people don't know that I submitted for Black Panther. I probably said a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I felt 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I submitted for a role for Black Panther, but I never got a call back because I'm always submitting, planting my CV to submit my resume to different casting, and from what I was told, the time that then I submitted for Black Panther. I didn't get a call back, so I was told that Black Panther production was no longer filming anymore.
Right.
So I was like, man, I really want to be a part of this project, man. So I'd probably say a year went by, and probably this is like in October, like last October. I got a text message on my phone. I'm dead asleep. This is 1 o'clock in the morning. I lied to you now. This is 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm just waking up, and my phone is buzzing. Text message.
Right.
I'm looking at the text message. I'm like, would you be with How you doing, Ronson? Would you like to be a part of the Black Panther project, Elliot's Motherland? Would you like to be a boy trial warrior? These are the dates. So just confirm back with us, yes or no.
Wow.
So I'm looking at it. I'm like, man. I'm rolling my eyes. I was like, man, is this real? Or was this like, it's out the blue? And then again, it probably took me to reply back, probably like within the next hour, because a lot, to be honest, like a lot of things were going through my mind. As one thing, I'm thinking like, why would they contact me at 1 o'clock in the morning? Right. Because I know most casting agencies or casting companies, when they really want you, they really get back with you during the day. So that was one. And then another, and two, I'm like, how did they get my phone number?
Right.
So then again, I started thinking like, I guess it was floating out there somewhere.
Right.
And I just went on and replied back. I said, yeah, just prolong it. I said, yeah. I go ahead. Yeah, I'm available.
Right.
2 o'clock. So then I think they got back with me again, and they said that they got back with me again, and they said, oh, that's great. We'll send you the details in your email on what to come to, and everything, and just to follow up. So I'm like, yeah, right. So I go back to sleep, and I wake up at like 8 o'clock. And then some told me to check my email. Just go and check your emails, because I'm always, sometimes in the morning time, I used to check my email, check what's going on.
Right.
In the morning time, so I checked my email, and I actually seen the email. And it says, Ronson, we just wanted to follow up with you, want to get back with you. These are the dates. We want you to come to set and everything, but we would like you to come to rehearsal at 1:30. And it said, would you like to, could you be available to come to Tyler Perry Studios by 1:30?
Right.
And this is probably like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I can come. I was like, damn, this is real. This is the real deal right here. Oh my God.
Right.
Oh my God, these people, they serious.
Right.
So then I left Richmond. I left Richmond. Probably like a good 9, 10 o'clock. I took a flight, took a straight flight from Richmond to down to Atlanta, to Tyler Perry Studios to do rehearsals. Matter of fact, we had our first rehearsals down at Tyler Perry Studios, and that's where we had our rehearsals. We had our wardrobe. We had everything. Everything was going on. I would say when I got to Tyler Perry Studios, I checked in and everything. Like, they had my name on the list and everything. Had my clothes laid out for me. My costume, what I was going to wear for the filming, I had to get fitted. They had some bathroom stuff over here. They had Forrest Whitaker stuff over here. Michael B. Jordan stuff right here. And Terry Bozeman stuff. The Panther suit behind you.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So they called my name up. It's like, this is your stuff right here. So they was like, try this on. So I tried on the matter of fact, no. Yeah, I tried. Actually, I tried on the suit the armor suit that they gave me. The Border Tribe Warriors wardrobe suit. To me, when I looked at it, it kind of looked heavy. I was like, man, this looks kind of heavy.
Right.
So when I had tried it on and I was walking around in the suit and everything, I was just like, man, this feels light. This feels real light. So then the wardrobe guy, he's like, yeah, it's very light. Yeah, very light. He's like, the wardrobe guy was like, man, you look perfect in it. Perfect. And everything, and stuff like that. So I went on, tried it on, and after I finished trying it on, I had to go get hair and makeup done and everything. Hair and makeup, they had put me in like a ball fade. Tribe Warriors, they had to look a certain look and stuff. And probably after that, I had went to rehearsals, fight training. Now, this is the hard part right here. The fight training experience and rehearsals were very intense.
Right.
Like, you really had to get your cardio up.
Right.
Because I'm talking about, man, they had people, they had people that was already there. They was already previously doing scenes with Black Panther before I even got there, so they were already experiencing with the swords. They had we didn't actually have real swords. We had how can I say, plastic. I don't want to say plastic, but they were plastic, but they look real.
Right. Right. Got you.
And some of them were sharp too. Even though they were made out of plastic, they were sharp, like sharp swords. We were training with and stuff that we had to do a lot of choreography as far as a lot of choreography as far as where we would hit to the right and hit to the left, and we had to swing, and we had to do a whole full swing and reverse back and everything. We had to do that a couple times, and we had to do full motion, like a full like a fast full motion. We kept doing that for hours.
Wow.
For hours.
Wow.
And one of the stunt guys that were there, he was just like, just make sure that even though you have the weapons like the swords and the knives and everything like that, just make sure you don't hit your other opponent the wrong. Don't hit them in the head or do it shot wrong move. And everything. Because matter of fact, the way that we were swinging, it was really close. I'm talking like really close up to. I'm talking about like really close up on the face.
Right.
I would say, and on the body.
Right.
But we had to like. I probably say we was like swinging by an inch. I mean that's how close we were really hitting. Like trying to hit you, but we really wasn't trying to hit you.
Right.
We just wanted to make it look good on camera.
Right. That's...
So that was I would say after that, after rehearsals was over with, I would say I had to come back. I went back home to Richmond, and I had to come back down to Atlanta. To do the actual film. I would say I went back to Atlanta, went back to Fairburn, Georgia. That's where we filmed. Actually, when we did not shoots, we did reshoots. So we filmed in this place called Fairburn, Georgia. I think it's like 30 minutes outside of Atlanta. And everything. So when I got back to Georgia, I got back down there. I probably say I came back to Georgia probably like 2 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks. I came back 2 weeks. Went to this. I forgot the name. It was this horse resort. I forgot the name. It's funny name. It's this big horse resort that they were filming at, and actually that was the location for Wakanda.
Wow.
I'm telling you, that was the actual location. I have pictures on my phone. If y'all would have seen it, y'all would be like, oh yes, that's the actual location.
Right.
but then again, I say like my first day on set. First day on set, we started at 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had to get breakfast and everything. Had to get breakfast, had to get, you know, checked in, had to put our clothes on, and all that stuff. I had to get checked in. I say like the first time I was, we had to do our emotions as far as us, what we had to do on set. I probably said it was about 15 of us. It was 15 of us Border Tribe Warriors, and we did the first day. They took a group of us that had put us up on top of a hill.
Mm-hmm.
And actually we was on top of a hill, and actually we was it was like a lot of blue screens, a lot of green screens around us. And we were going, actually, the director, actually, Ryan, I say the first day, Ryan wasn't there. I think Ryan had a emergency or something. I was doing some other stuff, but our first day, Ryan wasn't there. Mm-hmm. But there was another director that was there. I forgot his name. He was there. He had us doing, he had us running, charging, acting like we was charged. That's what 15 of us. It was the top of the hill. We was charging like we were going to chase Black Panther, like actual charge after him.
Right.
And I would say we did that probably about I probably say our first day we probably did about a good 60 times. 60 times. Our first day. We would run up and down hills, up and down, up and back. Same thing. I mean, just the same as you would do hills or training for basketball or training for football season. The same thing.
Right.
We were doing. We had our costumes on, and everything. We did that for like almost 12 hours. I'd say 12 hours.
Wow.
The whole day. The first day. Yeah, the first day. The second day we did it. Second day we did it. Ryan came back. Ryan Coogler came back.
Right.
And he was directing us and telling us the reason behind what we were doing. He was telling us the reason behind what we were doing was to chase Panther. It's almost like we were like turning our backs on Black Panther.
Right.
We were trying to chase him and trying to fight him.
Right.
Yes, because actually, Ryan is a great director, humble guy, down to earth guy. A lot of people don't know Ryan Coogler. He did Creed with Michael B. Jordan in Fruitville Station.
Right.
So
Ryan Coogler for those.
Just have the hands-on experience with Ryan was incredible, man. Was incredible. Because like when I first seen him, I was just like, man, that's Ryan Coogler from Fruitville Station, because I've been on many sets. Like I've been on many film sets, and I work with a lot. I work with a lot of directors.
Right.
But this one right here, like Ryan was like, man, that's Ryan right there. I was like very nervous. But then again, as far as me like working and him directing me and directing the whole cast and everything, I was like, man, this guy's down to earth just like me.
Wow.
You know, somebody that you know around North Side, around South Side, around Chill.
Right.
He just had that, down to earth.
And the down home energy.
With everything.
Right. That down home energy, like you said, for those of our listeners, Ronson is talking about Ryan Coogler, the African-American director of the movie Black Panther. And so just wanted to fill those listeners that were maybe not able to understand who is who, or maybe who have not seen it yet. Of course, it's still early in the game. So many people that I talked to have not seen it. They have plans to see it. And I was telling you earlier, we plan on March 11th to take our TMBT movie trip. We're going to be taking our youth, some of our students from our 13U and 15U, and some of our students that we Coach will be taking them to the Bowtie Cinemas on March 11th, and just want them to see what you said. Kind of like you said, it's a movement, and so I think one thing that we can do as older guys, as older gentlemen, to pass down knowledge is priceless. And so one way of passing down knowledge, or my way of seeing where I can help in spreading the movement and passing down knowledge to my younger generation, is to pay for them personally to go to the movie to see it, because we know that some parents don't have, movies are so expensive nowadays. Some parents don't actually have that in their budget. And so we here at the Milton Bell team will be, we're shooting for 30 people. We're probably going to be taking different groups, but just want kids to understand, like you said, the movement aspect of it, what it means to support all movies, but support our African-American actors, our African-American directors. You mentioned Tyler Perry, who is one of the biggest movie people in the world. Tyler Perry, yeah. Right. And so wanted you to talk a little bit about, for those of us who have not had the experience, I was reading that set that he has down there, the Tyler Perry Studios. It looked, from pictures, it looked like it was incredible. Was it everything that it looked to be? Was it everything in person that you see on TV and that you see in magazines and stuff? Is it that incredible?
Yes. Actually, the one that we were doing, that was the new studio.
Okay.
At Fort McPherson. That's Tyler's new studio. That's a whole Army base.
Wow.
That's like Army base. You would say like Fort Lee.
Fort Lee, right?
Army base.
Right.
It's the same thing at Fort Lee. Is like that. That would be Tyler Perry Studios. Like he bought out the whole Army base. Fort McPherson.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, he bought it out. Yeah, bought it out. And you know, like, cause actually I think because somebody had told me he had a deal with Marvel. He wanted to do a deal with Marvel as far as setting the equipment there. You know, setting the Black Panther set equipment, like the cranes and the big cameras, the big green screen, and
right.
And everything, you know, rehearsal there, you know, all the technical stuff was going to be held at Tyler Perry Studios. And Tyler wanted to be a part of that. I'm pretty sure who wouldn't be? You know, speaking of Tyler Perry, I worked with Tyler Perry as a cook on If Loving You Was Wrong, and season 1. Yeah, season 1, I played a cook with Tyler Perry. And season, I would say season 3, he had me as a prison inmate. Okay. On there. So, yeah, actually, you can kind of see me in the background and see me there, you know, here and there if you look close.
Right.
But Tyler Perry is a down-to-earth guy. He's a down-to-earth guy, too, I would say also. Tyler is very detail-oriented, very fun, you know, fun-going guy. You know, he's not very hard. You know, he gives you, let's say, for instance, if it's something that you have a problem with, not problem, but something that you have difficulty with. Right. As far as learning, or, you know, you have the trouble understanding a script, or how to be directed on how to do this turn or that turn or whatever. He's going to you know, teach you and, you know, guide you through it. You know, right. He's not a very hard person. Right. You know? Everything. And in my experience with Tyler Perry is he had me play a cook. He was just giving me direction, and he was just like, you know, I want you to go over here, act like you're cooking over here, to go. Then when the B camera roll from the left side to the B side, I want you to go on the other side, right. On the other side of the scene, and like act like you're cooking over here, and do this, do that, and interact with the main cast, right, and everything. So yeah, he's very, very good guy, very down-to-earth guy.
Yes.
Just like somebody that you would, that you grew up or know around Churchill, or
right.
The homebody.
Right. Yeah. I think that makes me. Of course, I hear so many great things about him, and I've seen all of his movies, and then to talk to someone that has actually worked with him and spent time with him and around him, to hear you say that solidifies my opinion of him as a legendary person that is empowering so many actors, African American actors, giving people starts, giving people jobs. I also read where he is using a lot of his own money, giving to various charitable organizations. And so he sounds to be, if I'm understanding you correctly, he's everything that you read about and more. So that's huge for our listeners, for our young people that are listening, to know that for those of us that look up to Tyler Perry, like myself included, he is the real deal, and is a product of hard work, because like you said, you don't come to that level of financial security, but empowering other actors, you don't get to that level without hard work and dedication. And so it just goes to show that that you can do whatever you put your mind to. I've read several articles where he's been doing this for quite some time, but he always saw himself doing it. And so it goes back to our theory, you and our theory that we were talking about earlier, where whatever you put your mind to, whatever you can dream, God makes it so that, especially here in the United States, that we're blessed to be able to live out those dreams or to shoot for those dreams. And so he's quite an inspiration to myself, to yourself, I'm sure, and to so many people around the world. Talk to me a little bit about the movement. And like you said, for those people that I was telling about my interview with you and just listening to them talk about the movie, it was almost like they refused to tell me any details. They wanted to make sure that I went to see it first, and then they would talk to me. So it's quite, the word that you use is a movement. People are really treating it as such, and I think that is one of the reasons that it is the global blockbuster that it is, the worldwide blockbuster that it is, because it is a movement. Man, I saw some special effects today in the movie. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before, and I'm sure it will be like anything. We won't see anything of that kind, maybe ever again, maybe ever. Just incredible, just incredible. Talk to me a little bit about, I'm sure it hasn't sunk in yet because it's still playing, but I'm sure that once you get to be 70, 75 years old, you're 80 years old, you're sitting back in your rocking chair, that it may then sink in what you've actually done and what you've actually accomplished, the movement that it is and the movement that it will be. It has to make you feel good at night when you lay down and you go to sleep. It has to make you feel like you have given back to the generation, like you've given back to the culture, you've given back to the race, but you've given back to society, because it's bigger than an African-American film. The messages that are throughout that movie are incredible. Talk to me a little bit about the messages and the what you guys were trying to portray with the messages and the plot. Talk to me a little bit about that, if you will.
I'll say the message that we were trying to get through, as far as the Black Panther, was, even though it's of course it's an African American film, it's our film, so it's almost like and then again, like I go back on set, like Ryan was telling us, man, this is a big important film, so everything has to be detailed right and correctly. He was just very specific on that, and for me being on set and by me watching the film, I kind of can understand what he was saying, as far as the way our culture is portrayed, on screen.
Right.
He wanted, of course, he wanted to have a great perception of us on screen.
Right. Right.
And doing the film, and also the film has a reflection on us of how we view ourselves or how we look at life, and to our generation, as far as the kids and the coming up and watching it firsthand.
Right. Right. It's something. It's funny because so many of my friends and guys that I call my brothers, they have already seen it. But not only did they see it, they have taken their sons to see it. And so, kind of like I said before, one of the most important things that we as parents or uncles or mentors, one of the most important things that we can give to our youth is knowledge. And so when I talk to my African-American friends that have taken their sons to see such a powerful movie, it kind of reminds me or kind of lets me know that, hey, that time that you're teaching your son about, hey, whether you're teaching him basketball, you're teaching him football, you're teaching him acting, boxing, what have you, you can also take time to take him to the movie theater to teach him a little bit about history and a little bit about our generation or today's society. And so that was one of the biggest things that I got from talking to my buddies that had taken their sons, is that it was a teaching moment, that all of them used it as a teaching point. And the word that I hear you use so much is empowering, or the word that I hear people use so much. And it's what it showed. It showed African-American people. It showed African-American civilization. And Black Panther as a whole, he's showing so much positive energy, so much power within what he's doing. He's portraying someone that spews positive energy. He wants the best for his kingdom. He wants the best for his people. And of course, like in life, you have so many people that want otherwise. You want so many people that want otherwise. Here on TMBT Radio, we have Ronson Giggets with us on our Minority Report, talking about his blockbuster film, Black Panther, the movement, I call it. Ronson, wanted you to shout out your social media handles one more time for those people that may have been tuning in a little later. Wanted you to shout that out to the people.
Okay, you can reach me at Ronson Giggets, Ronson Actor. That's at Instagram.com. Ronson, that's RONSON. Giggets, with the G, that's GIGGETTS. At Instagram, or you can follow me on Facebook, Ronson Giggets. Again, that's RONSON. Giggets with a G, the GIGGETTS on Facebook. And then again, I kind of want to, like, Facebook and Instagram. I kind of want to keep it. I kind of wanted to keep just to keep it simple.
Right.
For people that want to Google me or look me up. Just that simple.
Right.
So it's not hard for you to search me or anything. So,
right.
So if you search me, if you type in, just type the name, my face will pop up, and that's it.
Right. Well, that's big, man. For those young people or adults that want to reach out to you and continue to support what you're doing, to continue to follow the great path that you are carving out for yourself in Hollywood, in life, and the incredible energy that I've always known you to have. Ever since high school, of course, we were so young then, but you have the same energy about you now that you did back then. And so it just goes to show that just because someone becomes famous or makes a lot of money doesn't mean that they have to change. Money and fame shouldn't change anyone, but it's a pleasure for me to say, hey, one of my brothers who's doing so incredibly well, he seems to be the same person. He's the same. Of course, your voice is a little deeper, but we still have the same conversations that we did at John Marshall High School. So it's a beautiful thing to see what you're doing. Any words, anything you want to say, anything that, like myself, I saw it today, but I'll be going back on the 11th. Anything that I should be, any cheat notes or any cliff notes that I should be, or anything you can share with me so that next time I go back I can look for, or that something I probably missed. I'm sure I'll go back to see it with the group that we'll be taking. I'll be seeing it 3 more times. So anything for novices like us to look for in the Hollywood world, anything that we didn't see the first time that maybe is not seen by the average human eye?
For Black Panther?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the Black Panther, I say, it's actually the scene where we chase Black Panther. It's a fighting scene, and then we're chasing the Dora girls, warriors, and actually it's a scene where Daniel, our leader, gets kicked by Black Panther. He gets kicked by Black Panther. So he gets up, he gets mad, and he goes up on the rock and toots the horn. And actually, it's a clip where you can just catch me right there. I'm just like calling the rhinos, like, I, he's calling the rhinos just to sweep Black Panther and get him and get him back, get some get back.
Get some get back, right?
So after that, I do my I call chant. And the rhinos come, and then they chasing Black Panther, and they chase him, and then I think Daniel hops on the rhino,
right? Hops on the rhino,
to try to get back at Black Panther. I think after that, I think Panther kind of like, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he does something else.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think it switches over to Killmonger, him fighting Killmonger.
Right.
And Killmonger coming behind him and trying to kill him and all and everything like that. So,
it was incredible.
Right there.
Well, it was incredible. The movie is everything that people told me it was. Highly recommend for all of our listeners. For those of you that have seen it once or twice, there's some people that I talked to, Ronson, you would be very proud. Some of my friends have like this movie pass. I guess it's like an AMC movie pass where you can go so many times during that month. And I have friends of mine that have actually been to see it every day. True story. They use their pass because it's free. They get so many times a month, and they have been every day. They've been going every day or 5 times a week. They've been taking family members. And so it's kind of like you said, the word that sticks in my mind is movement. It's definitely a movement. My brother wanted to say thank you for everything, for taking the time to be with us, to give us a chance to kind of pick your brain and listen to words of someone who, like you and I said, we went to high school together, and to have you here with us today to kind of give our listeners an inside look about the movement. Just really proud of you, brother. Keep on doing what you're doing. We hope to have you back. It sounds like this movie will be running for quite some time, and it sounds like the numbers that it will be doing are already astronomical, but will continue to climb. And so just want to say really proud of you. We're blessed to have you. Thank you. And we're hoping to have you back soon.
Okay, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, Ronson. This is our TNBT program with Ronson Giggets, one of the incredible human beings, one of our African-American actors from John Marshall High School, one of our TNBT brothers. And he was here today talking about the movement. So we'll be signing off now. I want to say thank you to all of our listeners, to all of our students that will be traveling with us on March 11th with our TNBT Black Panther movie trip. Stay tuned. And for those that wish to if someone has kids that they know that want to take part in our trip, or if there's some parents that have already been to see it and would like to donate so that another kid can go and see it, please check into our website, www.miltonbellbasketball.com. We'll talk to everyone later.